Hello friends and welcome to this video on Authentic English. And today I will discuss the famous play by Shakespeare, Twelfth Night. Now, before we begin with anything, there are a few things that I would like to, talk about. First of all, I would like you to have read the play, at least you need to have a knowledge of the summary of what happens in the play before you begin watching this video. Because in this video I'm going to discuss with you, themes, context, background, etc. and stuff like that, which is very important for a complete study of the play. But the one thing that I believe we need to do is that you should have read the play. Even if you have not read the play, I'm going to give you a brief summary of the play, so that will help. But in order to understand everything clearly, you must have read at least the summary of the play before you begin watching this. And one more thing which is very important, I'm going to regularly upload literature videos on this channel, so if you've not subscribed to my channel yet, you can do that right now by clicking that subscribe button, and also click the bell icon next to it so that you're notified about each new video I upload. So first of all, I think we should begin with the summary of this play. Okay, before anything, I think you need to at least know what is the story and what happens in the play. So without wasting much time, let's begin with the summary of this play. The play begins with a woman called Viola. Okay, so what happens in the play is that it begins with a woman known as Viola, who is shipwrecked around a sort of an unknown place called Illyria. Now, what happens is that this woman known as Viola is shipwrecked in an island known as Illyria. Now, you can see the name Illyria. Illyria, many critics believe reminds us of a, sort of an unknown place which is cut off from the rest of the world. So we'll discuss more of this later on when we are discussing themes and analyzing the play. But you can think of Illyria as a place which is cut off from the rest of the world, in which things happen of their own accord. Okay, it's sort of an unknown place. Illyria also rhymes with delirium, So what happens is the play begins with this woman known as Viola, who is shipwrecked in an island called Illyria, and she is rescued by a sea captain. It is discovered that she has a twin brother, Sebastian, who had come along with her but who is perhaps drowned and whom she has lost contact with now. We get to know that she had a brother called Sebastian who accompanied her, but she got separated from her during the shipwreck, and now she does not know where Sebastian is. So she is alone on this island called Illyria, where she is rescued by the sea captain. She has lost her brother. She does not know if her brother is dead, or maybe if he is alive, where he is. Okay. So in Illyria, Viola seeks work somewhere but without revealing her identity, and so she disguises herself into a man named Cesario. Now, Viola decides to get some work in that island. Now, she's shipwrecked. She needs to earn some money for herself. She decides to, get some work somewhere. But she does not choose to work as Viola. Instead, she disguises herself into a man named Cesario. Now, why does she do that? So there can be many explanations why she chooses to disguise herself as a man called Cesario. Maybe she did not feel safe on that island. Maybe she did not want to reveal her identity for any of the reasons. We never know why she chose to, conceal her identity. So what happens is that she disguises herself into this man named Cesario. So you can see that I've written in capitals gender identity. So gender identity is a major theme in this play, that a woman becomes a man. We also need to remind ourselves that during the Elizabethan times, that is when Shakespeare wrote the plays, the women parts were actually played by men. So it became easy for the men to come back as men. So Viola, got back as Cesario. So Viola now disguises herself as Cesario. And we'll see that Viola remains Cesario in 90% of the play. So she disguises herself as Cesario and wants to work somewhere, and begins working in the court of Duke of Illyria named Orsino. So where does she start working? She starts working in the court of the Duke of Illyria, who is called Orsino. Now Orsino is the Duke of Illyria, and Viola starts working there disguised as Cesario. So appearance versus reality is another important theme in the play. So, I'll discuss all the themes in a lot of detail, but I think it's good to start telling you the themes right when we begin the summary. Viola becomes a good friend of Orsino, and Orsino sends Viola to woo Olivia, a noble woman who is mourning the death of her brother, whom he loves and who has refused love to him. So it is discovered to the readers that this Duke Orsino is in love with a woman known as Olivia, who also lives in Illyria. So now what happens is that Orsino has tried to woo Olivia several times, but Olivia has rejected his love proposals. So what happens is Orsino, now that he has got Viola, and Viola has become a good friend of him. So what happens is this Orsino sends Viola, as an intermediary to woo Olivia on his behalf. So this is something extremely important, and you need to understand this. That what happens is this Viola starts working in the court of Orsino and becomes a good friend of him. Now what Orsino does is that he sends Viola to Olivia to woo Olivia on his behalf. Now Orsino is thinking all the while that Viola is a man, and Viola has disguised herself as Cesario. So Viola and Cesario are the same thing, and Orsino is actually sending Cesario to woo Olivia. Now what reasons does Olivia give to reject the love of Orsino? She says that what happened was that Olivia lost a brother. So Olivia's brother was dead a few months ago, and she has decided not to be in the company of men or accept proposals, to mourn the death of that brother. So Olivia is actually mourning the death of her brother, and that is why she says she is going to reject any proposals that come her way, and she is going to mourn the death of her brother for 7 years. But Orsino does not want to hear a no, so he decides to send Cesario to the court of Olivia to woo her on his behalf. Viola goes to woo Olivia, who doesn't agree to love Orsino. So what happens is that Olivia still does not agree to love Orsino. Now, it is only known to the audience that Viola, disguised as male Cesario, has developed feelings for Orsino. Now, it is only known to the audience that Viola, who is disguised as Cesario, starts loving the Duke Orsino, but Orsino loves Olivia. Now, when Viola goes to woo Olivia, thinking that Viola is a man called Cesario, as she has chosen to disguise herself, starts loving her. So a love triangle is formed, and you need to visualize this love triangle in your mind. The three vertices of the triangle are Olivia, Viola, and Orsino. Viola loves Orsino loves Olivia, and Olivia has started loving Viola. So a complete love triangle has been formed. So you can see that this play is again a problem, and towards the end, and as we will reach the end, this problem of the play is going to get solved. Now, this is the main plot of the play, but we also need to discuss a very important subplot that is there in the play. Now, let's begin our discussion of that subplot. Meanwhile, a subplot which is very humorous emerges. Now, the subplot is very humorous, very funny. Olivia has a steward called Malvolio, whom the other servants of the house, along with Sir Toby and a suitor he brought for Olivia, dislike. It's very important to understand what I mean by this. If you have already read the play, you can skip this portion because you know the summary already. If you don't know the summary, you can continue here. Meanwhile, a subplot which is very humorous emerges. Olivia has a steward called Malvolio. Now, Olivia has a servant known as Malvolio. Now, the other servants of the household do not like Malvolio. Olivia also has an uncle called Sir Toby. Sir Toby is a very jolly man. And since Olivia is single, Sir Toby, being her uncle, has brought a suitor for her. Now, the suitor is known as Sir Andrew Aguecheek. Okay, so Sir Andrew Aguecheek, Sir Toby, are very humorous, are very, jolly people. They like to have a lot of fun. The other servants in Olivia's household also like to have a lot of fun, along with the fools that Olivia has in her household. Okay, so you know that fools played a very important role in Shakespearean plays. During the Elizabethan times, the rich people, gave jobs to fools for entertainment. So, most of the servants in Olivia's household, including Olivia's uncle and the suitor that Olivia's uncle has brought for Olivia, are very jolly people. They like to have a lot of fun. Whereas the servant known as Malvolio is not a very jolly man. He rather is a very disciplined person. So he wants to maintain discipline in the house of Olivia. Okay, so that's why these people do not like him. They think that he does not understand that it is very important to have fun. So they accuse him of being a Puritan. Now, the thing with Puritanism is that Puritanism was a sect of Christianity. So Puritans did not like, drinking too much, having a lot of fun, staying up late night, joking loudly, making body jokes, and stuff like that. So, uh, you know, these servants, these are the servants, and Sir Toby and Sir Andrew Aguicheek, they all do not like Malvolio because he is a very disciplined man. They play a practical joke on Malvolio by making him believe that Olivia loves him and that she would like to see him cross-gartered in yellow stockings, smiling. So they decide to play a practical joke on him. Now, what is the practical joke that they decide to play on him? They make him believe that Olivia loves him. And so they write a letter to this man called Malvolio. And in it, they write that Olivia, that, uh, that Olivia loves him and she would like to see him smiling, dressed in yellow stockings. Okay, so aspirations for a higher social status. This is what I've written in capital. Now, what happened was that most of the people during those times, during the Elizabethan times, wanted to be elevated to a higher social position. So this servant Malvolio naturally wanted to gain a higher position. If he married Olivia, what would happen? He would, get higher in the rank. When he appears in front of Olivia doing all of that, he's taken to be mad, and then all the plotters decide to exorcise him to normalcy. Now, when he, when he starts believing that Olivia loves him, and he follows everything that was written in that letter that was fakely sent to him. So he gets cross-gartered, wears yellow stockings, stuff like that. If he is in front of Olivia, Olivia thinks he's mad, and then all these people who played this joke lock him up in a dungeon and then begin to exorcise him. In the end, the love triangle is solved with the entry of Olivia's brother Sebastian. Now, Olivia's twin brother Sebastian enters the scene, and this love triangle is solved. What happens is that Olivia has always loved Viola, and of course, Viola, being a woman, has rejected the love proposals given by Olivia. Now, when Sebastian comes, he accepts the proposal that Olivia gives. So Olivia and Sebastian get married, and in the end of the play, what happens is that this Duke Orsino marries Viola. So we get to understand that Orsino has always loved Olivia, and in the end, he chooses to settle with Viola instead. So many critics believe that the love that Duke Orsino had was not true at all. In fact, love is a very important theme in this play, and we are going to discuss it in detail when we come to the theme section. So this was a general summary. So Sebastian, and then there is also Antonio. Antonio and Sebastian were in, kind of a homosexual relationship with each other. So homosexuality also comes into the picture. Who comes along to, okay? So homoeroticism is also a theme in the play. So these are, this is a basic summary, and Orsino is tied to Viola, his fickle-mindedness and fanciful love. So we get to know that Orsino is a very fickle-minded person. He changes his mind very easily. All throughout the play, he has loved Olivia, but in the end, he is married to Viola. And then Olivia gets married to Sebastian. Sir Toby marries Maria, who helped in gulling Malvolio. Now, Maria was a maid in Olivia's household, and Sir Toby marries her. Okay, so these are two of the plotters. Mention should be made of the fools Feste and Fabian, who play an important role in the play. Now, there are two fools, Feste and Fabian, who also play an important role in the play. The songs they sing highlight the various aspects of the play and add to its comic element. So they not only bring comic element, but also acts as careful analyzers of the play, who bring in most of the themes of the play very clearly to us. Fabian and Feste take part in making a fool out of Malvolio too. So Fabian and Feste also, take part in the gulling of Malvolio. In the end, everyone is happy but Malvolio. So what happens in the end? That everybody is happy. Everybody gets a partner, and there is a happy ending except Malvolio, whom we know is wronged. They played a joke on him. They exorcised him, made him believe that Olivia was in love with him, and made him a fool in front of Olivia. So Malvolio is actually wronged, and Malvolio is sad in the end, who declares to take revenge on everyone, and Orsino sends Fabian to console him. So this is how the play ends. So this was a basic summary that I hoped you would have understood. If you do not understand the summary, I would like you to read the play. It is very important that if you are, preparing a Shakespearean play, you should at least have read it in its original form. You should at least know the play, and then this entire video is going to make sense to you, and you're going to get all the knowledge that you need from this video. Okay, so now let's talk about the context and background of this play. Twelfth Night refers to the Feast of Epiphany, which is celebrated 5th or 6th of January, 12 days after Christmas. It marks the time when 3 wise men came to visit the baby Jesus. It marks the end of the 12 days of Christmas celebrations. Now we are going to discuss the title of the play. Now, Twelfth Night refers to the Feast of Epiphany, which is celebrated, 12 days after Christmas. So it is a festival which is celebrated 12 days after Christmas. On this day, what happened was that 3 wise men came to visit the baby Jesus according to Christian tradition. It marks the end of the 12 days of Christmas celebrations. Now, the most important thing about Twelfth Night is that it marks the end of the 12 days of Christmas celebrations. Now, during the Elizabethan times, this 12th night was a time of revelry. This was a time when a lot of fun took place. So we are going to briefly analyze what happened during the 12th night in the Elizabethan times, and then we are going to link what happens in the play with the title. Okay, so everything will, be stitched together. It was a period marked by intense celebrations and was marked by misrule and lots of festivity. So during the Elizabethan times, 12th night was a period which was marked by intense celebrations and lots of festivity. So lots of fun happened during the time. Games like bear baiting, etc. were played, which the Puritan church condemned, and a lot of misrule was elected. So during this festival of 12th night during the Elizabethan times, games like bear baiting were practiced, which the Puritan church condemned, and the Puritan church condemned such activities. They did not want people to indulge in such bad kind of games, and a lot of misrule was enacted. So a lot of fun happened during that time. At this time, the difference between the various sections of the Elizabethan society were narrowed. You know what happened? The servants and the lower class people, they enjoyed a lot. Okay, they did not obey all the orders that were given by their masters. So the differences between the classes that existed during the Elizabethan times, that were a very important part of the Elizabethan society, they were narrowed, and it was thought of as a vent for the frustration that might have otherwise built up in the people of the lower classes. So it was like the people of the lower classes were releasing their frustrations. They were always ordered, they always occupied a lower position in the society. They did not enjoy all the benefits that the people of the higher class enjoyed. So at this time, it was like, a vent through which they released all of their frustration, so that they do not feel downtrodden or left out. We can see the festive spirit resonating clearly in the play. Now, if you have read the play, and I've told you the summary also, this thing called this festivity, this theme of festivity is there throughout the play. It's very important. So, this thing of festivity can be clearly seen throughout the play. Sir Toby and Sir Andrea Gicheek always indulge in a lot of, revelry, lot of fun. They always keep drinking. And then, we have the famous dialogue of cakes and ale. So, fun is an important aspect in the play. And then Feste, Fabian, and then, the gulling of Malvolio. All of these elements are elements of fun, are elements of revelry that are seen in the play, and then can be linked with the celebrations that were associated with Twelfth Night. However, we need to know that this play was performed in the summer, so this was definitely not a play that has this this part of Twelfth Night anywhere in it. The idea of Twelfth Night, the idea of celebrations, is actually borrowed. So this is what is happening in the play, that Shakespeare has chosen the idea of Twelfth Night to represent the play, because the play has such revelry as is seen during the festival of Twelfth Night. So it must be noted, however, the play was performed in summers. So you know that festivity is a great part of the play. Now I'm going to talk about something extremely important. Many critics believe that Shakespeare encourages festivity and revelry and believes that sometimes rules need to be put aside and hence justify the sad treatment meted out to Malvolio. Now we know that Malvolio has played a cruel practical joke upon by people like Sir Toby, Sir Andrew Aguicheek, and the other servants in Olivia's household. So many critics believe that Shakespeare justifies it, that Malvolio needed to be punished because Malvolio did not, understand the concept of having fun, did not understand the entire concept of Twelfth Night in a certain way. While others opine that Shakespeare wanted the audience to feel ashamed of itself. Okay? While the other critics believe that Shakespeare did not want, the audience did not justify at all the treatment of Malvolio. In fact, wanted the audience to feel ashamed of itself by showing to. So, why does Shakespeare want the audience to be ashamed of itself? Because to what extent they can fall in the name of revelry and hence claim that the treatment of Malvolio is inhuman, and really bad. That in the name of revelry, people can go to any extent, and hence the treatment meted out to Malvolio is inhuman. So there can be difference of opinion on how you choose to see the treatment of Malvolio. So this is also related to the title of Twelfth Night. So this was the context and background. I would like you to read it when very well. Now we have some famous and important quotations. If music be the food of love, play on. This is the quotation that can be found right at the beginning of the play. This is the first line of the play, denotes a happy and romantic atmosphere set by the fickle-minded Orsino. That love is a very important theme of the play is also highlighted. Okay, if music be the food of love, play on. What does it mean? What does it mean? This means that if music can satisfy the passion of love, keep playing it on, the desire of love. So love is quite an important theme of the play. It denotes a happy and romantic atmosphere. So quote number 2, there is no woman's sight can bide the bearing of so strong a passion as love doth give my heart. No woman's heart so big to hold so much. They lack retention. Now Orsino, this is said by Orsino, he believes that women cannot love deeply. His love is great. So what he thinks that women cannot love as greatly as he does. He believes that his love is true, while the love that women can, while the love that belongs to women is not deep at all. They lack retention and their love is changing. Towards the end of the play, we get to know that in fact his love was not true love. His love was not deep at all. So what he says is actually not correct. Okay, so these were kind of very important. Now we'll take a look at more quotations. Okay, what is love? It is not hereafter. Present mirth had present laughter. What's to come is still unsure, and delay there lies no plenty. Then come kiss me, sweet and 20. Youth's stuff will not endure. So this is a song that was sung by Feste. Okay, and this song is extremely important, sung by Feste, that illustrates the importance of marrying on time. The song talks about why it is important to marry on time while you are young, to produce progeny, so that you are able to give birth to children. Otherwise, youth, beauty and power to reproduce can all fade with time. Otherwise, youth, beauty and power to reproduce can all fade away with time. As time passes, one loses youth, one loses beauty, one loses the vigor that one has, and one also loses the power to reproduce. It can be a hint to Olivia, who does not choose to marry. So Shakespeare, brings in the theme of marrying on time in many of the Shakespearean sonnets as well. I think I have given you that sonnet, and you can read sonnet number 1 by William Shakespeare, and he talks about similar ideas in that sonnet. So it becomes quite important. Foolery, sir, does walk about the orb like the sun, it shines everywhere. So this is another line that was said by Feste, that foolery is everywhere. The folly lovers commit in their pursuit of love. What this means, how this can be interpreted as, this line can be interpreted to mean the folly lovers commit in their pursuit of love. That one, when falls in love, one commits a lot of stupidity, which is shown clearly in this play. Okay. Dost thou think because thou art virtuous there shall be no more cakes and ale? So this is a very famous line said by Sir Toby, an important line that many critics believe illustrates the importance of reveling. This line illustrates the importance of having fun. People cannot always follow rules. Justifies Malvolio's ill treatment. Okay, so this line justifies Malvolio's ill treatment. Do you think that because you are virtuous there shall be no more cakes and ale? Just because you are disciplined there shall be no fun. This is what Sir Toby means. So art any more than a steward. Now this is also said by Sir Toby to Malvolio, that are you anything more than a steward? So this highlights the class distinctions that were present during that era. So these lines can be extremely important if you choose to quote from them. I would like you, to quote from these lines, because it becomes very important to quote from them. In fact, you should quote these lines in your examination, so you can learn. If you choose to learn lines from the play, you can choose these lines, you can learn them, and you can quote them in your answers. They're going to bring you a lot of marks. These are the most important lines that I've selected from the entire play. Be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and others of greatness thrust upon them. Said by Malvolio. Okay. Actually, what happened was that they were written in the letter that was written by Maria. So these lines were actually written by Maria. Class distinctions and the aspirations to climb up the social ladder, which was common during that time. So what this means: be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, that some are great by birth. Some achieve greatness, and some achieve greatness. Some achieve higher social status through their work, and others of greatness thrust upon them, and others achieve the higher positions in society because their lovers choose to do so, because they get it naturally from somewhere. So what this line meant was that since Olivia loves you, you have greatness thrust upon you. So this is what was written in the letter that Maria wrote for Malvolio. So this Malvolio said in front of Olivia. If you've read the play, you will get it all. So class distinctions and the aspirations to climb up the social ladder are highlighted in these lines. Okay, so let's move ahead. This fellow is wise enough to play the fool, and to do that well craves a kind of wit. He must observe their mood on whom he jeers, the quality of persons and the time, and lack the high guard. Check it every feather. So this entire passage that is said by Viola, highlights the important qualities of a fool. Comments on the work of a fool and the characteristics of a good one. Ironically, in Twelfth Night, the fool seems to be wiser than the other characters, as he can see through their follies, and hence acts as an analyst and a commentator. So the fool in Twelfth Night, which is Feste, seems to be more intelligent than the other people around, as he is able to pinpoint the follies that they have. Okay, so let's move ahead to the themes in the play. Okay, but before we get to the themes, I think I have a few more lines to perhaps show you. Let me check if I have them. Just a minute. Let me check if I have more quotations for you. Okay, I do not have more quotations. So one of the things that I would like you to read on your own is the final song by Feste. I'm sorry I forgot to include it in this video, but go through just a minute. I think I have them with me. Wait. Conceal me what I am and be my aid, for such a disguise as haply shall become the form of my intent. Now Viola says this line. The theme of disguises and mistaken identities is highlighted through this line. Note that much of the confusion in the play occurs because Viola chooses to disguise herself as Cesario. Now this is extremely important, that much of the confusion in the play occurs because Viola chooses to disguise herself as Cesario. Lady, you are the cruelest she alive, if you will lead these graces to the grave and leave the world no copy. Now this is also said by Viola to Olivia, which highlights the importance of marrying, that you have to leave the world a copy. It's important to give children to the world. And continuance of generation, given as a warning to Olivia, who is not ready to marry. Sonnet 1, which shall be discussed later. Okay, I'll not discuss it in this video. I'll upload a different video on Sonnet 1 in a few days. So echoes similar ideas. So the continuance of generation is a very important thing for Shakespeare, and in his sonnets and even in this play, it is clearly highlighted. Lady, you are the cruelest she alive. If you will lead these graces to the grave and leave the world no copy. Okay, that if you take your beauty to the grave without leaving any children. So this was what Viola said to Olivia. Okay, now let's move ahead to the most important thing in the play, which is the themes in the play: illusion and reality. Much of the action of the play depends on mistaken identities. Okay, Viola is disguised as Cesario throughout the play and is considered a man when she is actually a woman. The love triangle is made possible because of this disguise. Love triangle that occurs actually happens because Viola chooses to disguise herself as Cesario. Olivia falls in love with Viola, not realizing she is a woman. Olivia falls in love with Viola, not realizing she is a woman. Shakespeare hints at the fact how easily we are beguiled by what we see from the outer side, and inner qualities of virtue cease to matter in the face of passion. When one starts, when one has a crush on somebody, the only thing that one sees is the outer appearances and outer beauty. Anything that is inner, anything that has to do with more deeper feelings is ignored. So, one of the aspects of love is also highlighted. We'll discuss it more deeply when we discuss about love. That when one has a crush on somebody, when one falls for fancy, one only chooses to see what he can see from the outside. He is more in love with Orsino is himself aware. Orsino is himself unaware of the love he feels for Olivia. Orsino does not know the kind of love he has for Olivia. We know that in the end he marries Viola. So his love is actually not true, but he claims that it is true, in many famous speeches. He believes it to be true love when actually it is not. He is more in love with the idea of love. Orsino is more in love with the idea of love than in love itself. Malvolio is tricked by the false letter Maria writes. So illusion and reality and mistaken identities are very important in this play. Okay, what does Malvolio think? That this letter is actually written by Olivia, but it was actually written by Maria. He is unaware of the fact that Olivia doesn't love him. Thus, it is easy to trick people by false items. This is what is highlighted in the play. Thus, appearances can be deceptive. Appearances are deceptive. All that glitters is not gold. The theme of love. Twelfth Night shows the various aspects of love: longing, attainment, and so on. The various phases of love are highlighted in this play. The pain in unrequited love is clearly shown. Okay, but unrequited love brings a lot of pain, and this is clearly shown. Orsino pines for Olivia, and Olivia pines for Viola. Orsino wants Olivia, but Olivia refuses that love to him, and Orsino is sad because of that. And Olivia pines for Viola. Ultimately, the characters end in a union with suitable people. Now, ultimately, the play ends with union of people. However, Malvolio and Sebastian are left aside. Malvolio and Sebastian do not get partners for themselves. Why does that happen? Because Malvolio, because of maybe he was a Puritan, he did not understand the concept of love, and because Sebastian was perhaps gay. So, Malvolio's character may invoke sympathy or disgust depending on the point of view. Antonio's homoeroticism isn't accepted in the Elizabethan society. So, homoeroticism isn't accepted in the Elizabethan society, and it is maybe that's why that he does not get a partner in the end. The play also shows, so homosexuality is also a form of love, and it is only brave that a playwright at that time was able to show such things. The play also shows the importance of love and marriage, needed for the continuance of generations, and thus hints upon the fact that one should marry timely. The play also talks about getting married on time, because if you get married on time, you're able to produce children, you're able to continue your family, and thus one should get married timely. Orsino's love is flamboyant. Orsino's love, is very, very, shallow, very flamboyant, very, kind of a show-off kind of a love. And as critics believe that he's more in love with the idea of love than in love itself. He's more in love with the idea of love. He wants to do everything that a typical lover would do, like, sitting in the bowers and, listening to music and stuff like that. His love is not actually deep. He fulfills all the stereotypes associated with love, listens to music, wants to lie in fragrant bowers, etc. He uses Viola as an intermediary to declare love to Olivia. So he uses Viola as an intermediary to declare love to Olivia. This is something very, strange, that he does not actually have the courage to go to Olivia on his own. Or maybe, perhaps, before the beginning of the play, he went to Olivia and Olivia rejected him. That is all not, shown in the play. Olivia's love is superficial as she falls for the good looks of Olivia's love is superficial as she falls for the good looks of Viola. So, Olivia had actually said that she is mourning the death of her brother, but as soon as she sees Viola, she decides she loves him. So, she breaks her oath. So, this is another aspect of love, that love makes people blind. It's a mistake. It should be Viola here instead of looks of Viola instead of Olivia. Malvolio's love for Olivia is to climb up the social ladder. And why does Malvolio love Olivia? Malvolio wants to marry Olivia all the time because Malvolio wants to climb up the social ladder. Feste comments on how people in love are unaware of the foolishness they commit just for the sake of attaining the object of their desire. Feste, is wise enough to understand that people actually get blinded in love and they make mistakes. They commit all sorts of foolery just to attain the object of their desire. Homoerotic love. Now, homoerotic love is another theme in this play. Antonio's love for Sebastian is apparently homoerotic. He is ready to go to Illyria with him where he is not safe and gives him, his purse full of money. So, oh my god, I made a terrible mistake. I realized it again, that in the last slide I wrote that Malvolio and Sebastian are left aside. Actually, it should be that Malvolio and Antonio are left aside. Okay, it's written in the line below that actually Antonio was a gay person and not Sebastian. So Antonio's love for Sebastian is apparently homoerotic. Antonio was gay. It's not clearly mentioned anywhere in the play that he was gay or he had such feelings for him, but this is what the critics believe. So Antonio does not get a partner in the end. Sebastian marries Olivia. He's ready to go. So Antonio is ready to go to Illyria with Sebastian where he is not safe and gives him his purse full of money. All these show that he loves the man very much. Ultimately, Sebastian marries Olivia and Antonio cannot get Sebastian. Antonio is unable to get Sebastian. This homoerotic love is, however, not at all explicit. It's not clearly mentioned anywhere in the play. It's not explicit at all. Shakespeare has mentioned similar themes in other plays and sonnets. Compare with the Antonio in The Merchant of Venice. Now, the Antonio in The Merchant of Venice is also thought to be, gay. So the theme of homoeroticism is present in this play, in the play of Merchant of Venice as well. So if you decide to, study deeply, you can give this play a read as well. Now, the theme of Puritanism. Puritanism was a sect of Christianity that condemned the body celebrations associated with the festival of Twelfth Night. So Puritans, condemned. They did not like that those, loud celebrations that were associated with the festival of Twelfth Night. The revel makers disliked them. Malvolio is accused of being a Puritan. So Malvolio is accused of being a Puritan, and that is why they, Sir Toby, Sir Andrew, and the other servants of the house play a joke on him. As he wants law and order, and perhaps because of his killjoy nature, the members in Olivia's household play a prank on him. Now, as I told you earlier, the prank on Malvolio is, can be deciphered in two ways. Like, the audience, first of all, that Malvolio deserved such treatment because he did not understand, that there is something known as fun and revelry, and then it can be an attack on Puritanism by Shakespeare. On the other hand, it is to make the audience feel guilty of themselves that they can go to such bad extents in the name of revelry. So it can be interpreted in these two ways. So I know that there can be a lot of confusion, So if you have any problems, any questions related to this play, you can ask them in the comment section below. Now we can discuss the last two themes of the play: cross-dressing and gender roles. In those times, the female roles were played by young boys like Portia and the Merchant of Venice disguises as the lawyer, Olivia disguises as Cesario. So there are a lot of similarities between Merchant of Venice and this play. Olivia disguises herself as Cesario. Gender is a social concept while sexes are biological. Okay, so gender is something that is learned by the society while sexes are biological. Sir Andrew's cowardice doesn't signify he's not a man, but signifies that one's behavior shouldn't be stereotyped. Okay, Sir Andrew is also a coward, but that does not mean that he's not biologically a man. He is a man, but he is a coward. So we should not stereotype that a man should do this, that a man cannot cry, and girls are supposed to wear this. So this can be interpreted, on a very delicate level from this play. And when Olivia disguised herself as Cesario, she was actually in her normal form, because the role of Olivia was actually being played by a boy. The cross-dressing brings together both the sexes and sets aside the differences between them. The cross-dressing, narrows the differences between both sexes. Now, the last theme of class and society. There was clear distinction between the various classes in the Elizabethan times. So during the Elizabethan times, there was a clear difference between the various classes. In the theaters, the aristocrats occupied the seats while the groundlings stood around the stage. So now that, just like we have the caste system in India, there was this class system that existed in the Elizabethan times. There was higher class, then there was lower class. In the theaters, the aristocrats, that is the people of the higher class, occupied the seats while the groundlings stood around the stage. While the groundlings, encircled the stage, they had to stand around it. In Twelfth Night, the class angle is visible. The class angle is visible in Twelfth Night. Sir Toby can rebuke Malvolio since he occupies a higher strata. Sir Toby can rebuke Malvolio since he occupies a higher strata. And Malvolio, secretly dreams that one day, if he marries Olivia, he is going to be able to rebuke Sir Toby in return. The servants in Olivia's household occupy the lower chamber. So the servants in Olivia's household are restricted to the lower chamber of the house. Again class angle, because they are of a lower category. Malvolio, like other people of those times, has aspirations to rise in status. So Malvolio, the steward that Olivia likes the most, has aspirations to climb up the social ladder. Malvolio wants to, get higher in status, and hence hopes to marry the Countess Olivia, and that is why he hopes to marry the Countess Olivia. So this was the play Twelfth Night. I hoped I discussed everything that concerned this play. If you have any questions, there can be a lot of questions if you are studying this play in college or in school. So if you have any questions regarding this play, you can ask me in the comment section below. I'm going to reply to all the comments. And once again, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, you can do that right now, because I'm going to upload videos on literature, all in all again. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel and like the video, share it with your friends who might need it. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section below. Bye bye and take care.